it's hard for me to read the newspaper or watch local news, because often people that make those kinds of things see that as an opportunity to tell us terrible stories. Specifically, I'm going to tell one specific one about, and I read this several years ago.
Or not. But why would they do that? Why would the news want to direct you to troublesome, uncomfortable stories? What do they believe about you that makes that work for them? In other words, does the news guide the vibration of the planet, or does the vibration of the planet guide the news? If the news were accurate to the vibration of the planet, every day you'd turn on your television and there'd be a little zip go across the screen, and you'd say, what was that? And you'd say, that was all the bad news that's happening all over the world in comparison with the good news. Proportionately, just the fact that your sun came up today is worth everything else all put together. In other words, your planet is spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity with other planets. In other words, well-being is huge. So what is it about the newscasters? Who are they tapping into? They're tapping into the worrisome, fearful. They're counting on a large number of people being down there on that vibrational part of the scale, where they are worried about things that they need to be guarded from or guided against. And so what part of you are they playing to? If they were playing to the part of you that is us, they wouldn't say hardly anything that they usually say. In other words, those presentations do not attract our attention at all. So the question is, if you are drawn to it, what's going on in your vibration? What makes that a match for you?
I just want to get to okay, it's really awful. For example, an infant, an 8-month-old
Now you're
infant.
going to go there, aren't you?
Please.
But why would you torture us and make us go there? Why do you want to go there?
Because I need to know about the nature of pain for people that don't have the opportunity to, at least I can't understand if they don't have the consciousness and they have no control over their surroundings, and they're born to really bad situations. Not even just human infants.
But before you go further, you've got to understand that this non-physical vantage point from which you made the decision to come forth, do you think you are not knowing the environment into which you would be born?
Right.
In other words, do you think everyone chose a feathered nest? No one chose a feathered nest. Really? Those of you who are feathering nests are annoying those energies coming forth. No one chose a feathered nest. Some of these energies come forth and they are born into these beautiful houses and these beautiful neighborhoods with everything all decided for them. And they say, hey, what's going on? I thought this was an environment of diversity. I thought there would be contrast here for me to sharpen my teeth on and put lots into my vibrational escrow. In other words, now we know you're talking about one extreme and we're sort of playing with you about another. But we want to get your attention. None of you come forth into an environment without knowing what the environment is. And none of you come forth expecting or wanting someone to have cleaned everything up. Not one of you said, I'll come forth, but first get everything all smoothed out and then I'll just come forth and look around. Every one of you said, I'll come forth and from this I will put things in my vibrational reality. And when you think about it, think about the magnificent people that you have met or that you have heard about. And then listen from their point of success, listen to the story that they so often tell about their beginnings, and realize that in those beginnings that you now would say, I would not choose for myself or anyone, from those beginnings, they put things into their vibrational reality that if they had not been put into vibrational reality, this person could not now be living the magnificence of what they lived. Now we're going to give you the answer to your question, and you're going to feel it fully here without going into the gory details of the question that you are pointed upon. So hear this. You're really going to like this. So do you follow us as we say that you are source energy even while you are here?
Yes.
And do you follow that this life experience is causing you to know what you don't want and causing you to send out rockets of desire that are going into your vibrational reality, and that the source within you is maintaining and becoming the vibrational equivalent of each and every desire that you are setting forth. Does that make some sense to you? We know it's conceptual, that it's sometimes hard to get your thoughts around, but you follow the scenario of all of that. So here you're standing, and let's say you've been living contrast, which caused you to put a lot of wonderful things into your vibrational reality. Now hear this. That was true on the day you were born. On the day you were born, there were all kinds of wonderful potentials in your vibrational reality that were not currently being manifested. In other words, that were set into motion even before you actually got here in your physical body. All kinds of magnificent things waiting for you to vibrationally catch up with. And now we're telling the story that you're adding to it, adding to it, adding to it. So it is a common thing for everyone to have a vibrational reality or a potential that's far more exhilarating and magnificent than what they are currently living. Everything that becomes manifested was vibration first. So that's just the basis of where we're going next. We can feel that you get all of that. So now, let's say you're standing here having lived contrast. But you're still aware of the contrast as you stand here. So now as you look at that contrast, like the contrast you were talking about, you say, why in the world would anyone put up with that? Something's gone wrong in the heavens. Something's gone wrong with the creator of all of this. Why would they set it up this way? When you're standing in your now reality, in the absence of what you want, this contrast looks bleak and unwanted. That's why we start with that question every seminar. Are you enjoying the contrast of your time and place? People say yes, but most don't mean it. But if you could, by virtue of the thoughts you're thinking, by virtue of the mantras you're offering, the affirmations you're offering, the processes that you're offering, if you could get over there into your vibrational reality, into that vortex, even before the manifestations have occurred, when you get over there vibrationally and you look back at that contrast, every bit of it looks sweet. Every bit of it, you say, oh boy, bless that, bless that, bless that experience, bless that one, because that equals this, and this is good, you see. So the whole key to all of this is you got to jump over into this vortex vibrationally. You've got to take the emotional journey first. The physical journey will follow once you take the emotional journey. So the answer to your question is, once you have reemerged back into non-physical, we promise you not one of you will hold one regret for anything that you lived, and not one judgment against anyone else who lived anything either. Without the variety, there could not be choices, and without the choices, there could not be expansion, and without having chosen and expanded, there could not be the exaltation of all of that. It's just every bit of it, no matter how bleak it looks to you from where you stand, every bit of it worth it, every bit of it worth it, every bit of it worth it, every bit of it worth it. Now that is the ultimate of making peace with where you are. You see. So we know there are a lot of people who would think that you're a crazy person when you're witnessing something awful and you're trying to find the positive aspects in it. And we say, you have no choice. You can't control what others are doing. And if looking at what they're doing makes you feel sick, then you're using what they're doing as your excuse to rip yourself apart from who you are. And then you're just wallowing in disconnection, using that as the excuse. You could do something different. You could accept that as part of a valuable contrast and tune yourself to what's over here. And before you know it, the contrast that you live, even the contrast that you have access to, is a whole other set of contrasts, you see. Mm-hmm. We don't like bad things to happen to people, and we don't like to see people in pain. But we would never eradicate unwanted things from this planet, because you can't start trying to control the components of the palette. Free will exists. What we're here about is teaching you how to tune to the best of life, you see. And if there isn't the worst of life, how do you even know what the best of life is? And if there isn't the worst of life, how do you even create the best of life? You can't. Without that comparative experience, that's the framework of the time-space reality. That's what it gives you. It gives you the dimension in which to guide, you see. And so God, that which man calls God, expands from that platform.
if our task is to decide what we want, then attract it to us, does that mean that we are in sort of a proving ground?
Well, we wouldn't use any of those words. It's not a task. It's an option. It's an idea. It's a basis of a process. But again, no one has assigned it to you. So no one's giving you a grade about how well you've done. You cannot prove yourself to it. But what you're getting at here, and this is as far as we will go with this idea that you're upon, life causes you to expand. And if you don't keep up with it, you don't feel good. So the only task is keeping up with what life has caused you to become. You're a little bit like a two-headed monster, and it's just so much more pleasant with both heads are moving in the same direction. Jerry and Esther have been walking around the property making dozens of decisions on the house that is being built. And they laughed several times as the electrician or the lighting person or the contractor would ask them a question, and Esther would say yes and Jerry would say no. And then they said, we're a little like a two-headed monster. In other words, they both want to be in on every decision. They're just not exactly in the same place on every decision. It's their goal to be. Their intention is, and they say it to each other, nothing is more important than our harmony. And I don't care about anything as much as I care about our harmony. So if you want it and I don't, or I want it and you don't, we don't move forward on anything like that. We find something that we are both in agreement about. And we say, that's the way you are with your inner being. In other words, being in alignment with you is what matters most of all.
More than anything else. So this is actually more of a playground for us, more than a really learning environment.
Well, you can call it a proving ground if you want, and there's nothing wrong with that. It certainly is fun to not know and then know. It certainly is fun to be without something and really feel the power of not having it so that you want it, and then find the vibrational attitude that allows it to come. And that feeling of relief is your indicator that now you're letting yourself flow to it. It is just so delicious. It is more wonderful to be a deliberate creator than a creator by default. It is so much more satisfying to consciously acknowledge that you want something that you have not, and then deliberately tune your vibration until you feel better, and then watch the evidence of it respond to that. Even if you're in despair and now your new intention is to find the feeling of revenge, when you find it, there is a feeling of satisfaction because you consciously found relief. You see what we're getting at? It's the taking control back of your life experience that matters most. There is an undertone of your questions here that makes us really want to give this to you in a way that you can really hear it. You are free. You are so free you can choose bondage, but you are choosing it, every bit of it. There's no one else who's assigned it to you. So you could say the proving or the testing that you're doing is life and the system of becoming. It is inevitable that you must expand. Whether you let yourself keep up with it or not is your option. And when you let yourself keep up with your expansion, you have a joyful life. But when you don't let yourself keep up with your expansion, you don't feel so good. What goes wrong is when people say, somebody outside of me is calling all those shots. And that's why people think that God has forsaken them, because nobody outside of you is calling the shots. You are. You see. But it doesn't mean that there is not that which you call God. It means that that which you call God is not seeing you as unworthy or in need of being tested. That which you call God knows your value, knows your worthiness, expects good things for you, and in fact stands over there as the full culmination of everything that you've asked for, applauding you and calling you toward it and celebrating with you when you move in the direction of it and achieve it. Celebrating when you move in the direction of it, not even demanding that you achieve it.
Very good.
We have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is delicious to come together with those like you who are coming to know who you are. It is exhilarating to take thought beyond that which it has been before. Dozens of new insights as a result of this collaborative experience. Be easy about all of this. Life causes your expansion. Let 100% of your effort be toward getting into the vortex, getting into that vibrational state where you can see and hear and know the path to the fulfillment of all that you are. There is great love here for you. And as always, we remain blissfully, joyously incomplete.